March 13th when I was driving into work when I received word that our school was closing due to COVID-19. I have to say that at first I felt relieved. This was our first year opening as a TK through 8 school, and it felt as if we had all been in a race that seemed to not have a finish line. After some time, I began to try to convince myself that everything would be okay. Instead of a 2-week spring break, we will have a 3-week spring break. And here we are today on the brink of reopening schools. During this pandemic, having the responsibility of establishing systems and practices that lead to students achieving. From the title slide, you will see I chose 2 pictures that I think sum up my experience with ending this past school year, teaching students and leading a school through distance learning. The first picture is what we aspire to, or at least hope we look like on the other side of the device when our students and staff sign in. The bottom picture represents what actually was taking place on the other side of that camera. Whether you are an administrator, teacher, or a community partner, we all know too well the amount of time, energy, not to mention the multitasking that goes on into leading a distance learning session. For the next 20 minutes, I will be sharing 4 themes that are vital in improving student achievement. Let's begin by reflecting on how this past school year ended and begin to plan how this new school year will open. Questions for reflection. Question 1. How will you ensure students achieve this year? This is a question stakeholders must hold themselves accountable for. We also must be willing to answer it honestly, meaning really knowing our strengths as administrators, teachers, and community partners. And as equally important is knowing areas where you need support and not being afraid to ask for help. It is only when we are honest with ourselves and our team members is when we make strides in accomplishing the vision and the mission of our organizations. Question 2. Is your school doing everything possible to support high achievement for all its students? This question demands that we stakeholders, administrators, teachers, and community partners work interdependently. Working together takes time and a commitment. The commitment I am speaking of is a commitment to the learning of each student. Working interdependently is not always easy. In fact, it gets hard. But staying the course because you are committed to the learning of students will ensure high student achievement. I will share 4 themes that go hand in hand when it comes to improving student achievement. And each of these themes have equity at the center of it all. When it comes to decision-making on behalf of students, our decisions must have equity at the center. According to Winchell, author of Ambitious Science Teaching, equity is providing every student with opportunities to make academic progress. This is achieved by having equitable classrooms where the teacher provides the means by which all groups of students can take advantage of the situations that are designed to support learning. This definition speaks to 2 roles. The first role is obvious, the teacher, the one on the front lines who provides direct service to students. I underlined the word teacher on the slide because you can interchange the role with other frontline service providers, such as counselors, school nurses, psychologists, paraeducators, volunteers, support staff. This list can go on and on. The second role is not so obvious, but it is implied. And that's the role of the administration. Administrators, your front line is only as good as the support you provide. I firmly believe that if teachers are not successful, the first place we are to look is at ourselves. I go back to this definition of equity. And in order for the teacher to provide the means by which all groups of students can take advantage of improving learning, requires accountability beginning with us, the administrator. So let's begin at looking at the four themes. Improving student achievement requires intentional actions with the following themes: quality professional development, professional learning communities, appropriate instruments, classroom observation, and feedback. We will begin with quality professional development. I'm not going to spend time discussing the obvious indicators of quality PD, such as those listed on the left side of the screen. But I would like for you to consider and reflect on this quote by Richard Elmore. Professional development works, if it works at all, by influencing what teachers do, not by influencing what they think they ought to do or what the professional developers think teachers ought to do. This is where administration spends time in understanding what it takes to influence what teachers do with students. Influencing teachers' actions will not happen outside of the teacher. This means we must spend our time building professional relationships with teachers. It also means that teachers have to be intentional about their learning and making it actionable for the benefit of students. It's not enough for one to attend a PD, but making the learning actionable so that students are the beneficiaries of the new learning is where it's at. Here are some concrete actions to take to support influencing what teachers do when it comes to professional development. I will read a few to you, and I will start in the column of concrete actions for the administrators. Purchasing quality curriculum, providing time for virtual live trainings, and participate in those trainings alongside your teachers. Conducting classroom observations, both classroom and virtual, alongside your teachers, and providing non-judgmental feedback. Moving on to the teacher concrete actions. Study the curriculum and determine the high leverage tasks students will be asked to do. Attend and participate in the in-person and the virtual trainings, as well as the collaboration meetings. Provide students with feedback daily, either in person or virtually. Participate in classroom observations, either in person or virtually, and provide that non-judgmental feedback. Commit to putting your learning into practice, either in person or virtually. Concrete actions for our community partners. Whether it be in person or virtually, meeting regularly with your partnering schools to best understand their needs. You also can participate in the in-person or virtual professional development opportunities that the school offers. Providing training for the school in the areas in which the school may need support and happen to be an expert in. Together with the school, create a procedure for how students and families can access your services. Theme 2, the professional learning community. According to Richard DeFore, a professional learning community consists of two important actions. One, being focused and having that commitment that I spoke of earlier to the learning of each student. And two, establishing a collaborative team who works interdependently toward common goals of student achievement. The work ahead of us requires that we all work interdependently. Without us working together, student achievement is hard to obtain systematically. Let's look at the concrete actions for the professional learning community. For the administrator, creating space and sacred time for teachers to collaborate in person or virtually. Expecting outcomes from the collaboration. Teachers participating in the collaboration meetings and being prepared with your student data. Teaching class routines and learning expectations that focus on having students work independently so that you are able to differentiate your instruction in response to the student data. Virtually, you can schedule your differentiated small group sessions at a different time from the whole class session. If you are a community partner, some concrete actions are to participate in the collaboration meetings to learn more about schools' needs. Ensure that your partnership is a solution to the need that the school is trying to address. Theme 3. Appropriate instruments. A variety of tools can be used in the classroom to support student learning, ranging from traditional to high-tech options. As previously mentioned, it is important for teachers to reach all learners in a classroom. Therefore, the use of teaching aids and tools facilitate this objective by assisting teachers in differentiating instruction. Using aids such as graphs, charts, flashcards, videos, provides learners with visual stimulation and the opportunity to access the content from a different vantage point. Teaching tools help to make the learning environment interesting and engaging. And as we move toward a more digital society, kids are being exposed to technology and digital devices at a younger age. Video games and iPods are now what's exciting to students. So when they come to school, they have little patience for lecture-style teaching. Students are seeking constant excitement and simply have no tolerance for boredom. Teaching instruments are improving the quality of education in today's school while also providing students with the sense of excitement that they desire. Lastly, what is important is for teachers to know how to use these tools well. Let's look at some of the concrete actions we can take in regard to appropriate instruments. Administrators, commit to purchasing tools that enhance the learning. Commit to conducting in-person and/or virtual classroom observations along with teachers and provide that non-judgmental feedback. Commit to training your parent community on the latest tool if the tool has a parent component to it. Teachers, attend and participate in the trainings. Use the tools on a regular basis and provide administration with feedback. Ask students for their feedback regarding the tools used during lesson delivery. Community partners, see how you can be part of the solution. Provide training and/or support for tools that your organization is expert at using. And for our last theme, classroom observation, and feedback. Student achievement happens when time is committed to observing the teaching and the learning. Notice I did not say observing the teacher. When observing, it is important to remain objective, therefore writing descriptive statements of what is seen and heard. It is important that during these unprecedented times that classroom observations continue, whether they be in person or virtually. Once observations are complete, it's also important to debrief with the team who did the observation and the teachers who are being observed. What we have found helpful is the use of the ladder of inference. The ladder of inference helps one to draw better conclusions or challenge other people's conclusions based on true facts and reality and not judgments. It can be used to help better analyze classroom observation data. Here are some concrete next steps for the theme classroom observation and feedback. For administrators, commit to bringing the PLC together to discuss the learning from the classroom observations. Teachers, commit to providing honest feedback that improves student achievement. Community partners, participate in school-wide walkthroughs, as well as provide support where you see your organization can assist. So now we return to how we began. Can you now answer these two questions? Do you and/or your team have concrete next steps that you can take in order to start this school year with a focus on improving student achievement? I hope this session has provided you with actionable next steps into the start of a phenomenal school year. Be blessed and stay safe. My name is Dr. Elena J. Shackelford, and I thank you for this time.